Welcome back. On today's video, I wanted to do something a little bit different and go over how your application comes across on Indeed.com. Now, I've been doing a lot of interviews recently for a role that we're looking at filling in my day job, and not everyone understands how an application comes across. Now, I hear both sides of the conversation, unfortunately, of how hard it is to find a job right now, as well as in talking to other people that are hiring, how hard it is to find qualified candidates. And both sides, I would say, are accurate because there's a lot of different factors. So understanding how this information comes across on Indeed or any of the other hiring sites and what a hiring manager deals with, if you're willing to take that into account, can give you an edge when you're applying for a job. So let's jump right in. Now, I'm not going to be able to show all of the personal information for obvious reasons, but this is how an application comes across to someone on Indeed.com. When your application goes across, first of all, let me go over what I put in. I put in certain qualifications. I say I want to have certain skills. I have required and preferred, and that allows me to tell the candidates this is what I'm looking for. That information is important because if they don't have those skills, they're not going to qualify for the job, and they're not going to be able to get trained in a timely manner to be able to do the work we need them to do. We're not in a position, we're a small company, we don't have the ability to train someone beyond a certain level. Now, we'll obviously train them to do the job. We're going to take them from one level and put them to the next level. But if someone has a completely different skill set, they won't be able to succeed in the role we're looking to fill. So that's why it's important for people to read what the qualifications are. When you go on Indeed and they say we need to have these certain skills, it's important to have those skills or tell them why what you do matters to them. And I'm going to get into that in just a minute. But let's go over how this looks. So for example, in these roles, I went through the position that I was hiring for, and in the past 2 weeks, I received, I believe, over 40 applications. And most of those happened in the first couple of days. Now, in addition to the role that we're hiring for, I have my full-time job. And that's how most small companies are. They don't have dedicated human resource people. They have someone who has a normal job. All those responsibilities don't go away, and that person is then tasked with hiring a new person. So when these applications come in, we have to filter them by the people that look the most qualified. And all we have to go on is the information that is put in to the application. So here's how it comes in. It tells me the person's name. It tells me what position they applied to. It tells me if this person is active or responsive or not. That's actually a big deal on Indeed. If people are not responding, if they're not active, it tells the employer, the prospective employer, that they're not active. They don't respond well to applications, to questions, to messages. So if you're putting something on here, watch your Indeed site to make sure that you're responding to people quickly. It tells me right here that they qualify for 2 out of the 3 mandatory requirements and 1 of the preferred requirements. So I know that this person may be applicable. Now, I don't pay a lot of attention to that. I do pay attention to the rest. Now, in ours, I put screener questions in. The reason I put screener questions in is I want to know how this person's skills are applicable to what we're looking to do. If they don't fit the skills that I have here, the qualifications, this is a great opportunity for them to tell me why they think that they will be a good candidate in this role. So these questions are not something to skip. They're something that you really should take some time and fill in, because this is one of the major things that I do look at. I, of course, look at the application history, I look at the job history, all of that, but I look here to see if they have told me why they qualify for the job. Now, this particular person, you can see they answered that they're authorized to work in the United States. That's where this position is located. They tell me that they did answer this first question. I said, give me a brief explanation on your experience in this type of work. And they said, I do not have experience, but I have these type of skills for something else. And that's okay. That's a good start. It needs to be concise, which this is, but it also needs to tell me what qualifications they have, how they're going to transition from something that's not related to this goal, to this job. That's important. And then this question here, this candidate skipped altogether. That's not going to be helpful when I already know this person doesn't have experience and they're skipping questions that I'm asking because it's pertinent to this role. In this particular case, how they're managing multiple projects at a time. Something like that matters. And then, of course, it gets into the resume. So on Indeed, I usually will see up here that person will have filled out the resume also. Usually it just transfers over from the PDF that they've uploaded, and then I'll be able to scroll down and download their resume or do other things. In this particular case, they didn't. They skipped this. They skipped the uploading the resume, which is okay. I'm not worried about that. But they also skipped a question here. And then as I got into the resume, there's other factors that I look at there. And I'll touch on those briefly, but not right now. So let me go over to a different candidate that we also were looking at that also applied to this job. And let's walk through this one. So this particular person, it shows me that they have 2 of the 3 skills that are required. They did not actually have any of the other ones, the preferred that I had put, but they did answer both of the questions. In fact, they told me my experience with this information, and it was actually directly relevant. It was succinct, it was a very quick answer, and it showed me that they had the experience I was looking for. They answered the second question and told me what I needed to know there. So I know that this is a candidate just right out of these 2 questions that I need to take a little bit more time with going through the resume. For an employer, it could easily take me 20 to 30 minutes to go through a resume to make sure I'm getting all of the information. It may only take me 15 or 10 minutes or even 5 minutes if I see they're not qualified, but if you multiply that by 40, that takes a good chunk of my day. Then I get down into the resume and I'm able to see all of the relevant information. This particular person in the resume, I'll tell you what I look for there. I'm looking for people that are quickly able to identify, and they have their name and phone number, contact information right there. Objective statements are fine. I'm not really concerned about that. What I'm looking for is people that have the skill set. Summary of qualifications is again important but not critical because they've already shown me, and their job history will show me what that is. Education is important, but it's not critical, to be honest with you. What I'm looking for is the experience in the role. Education gives them a leg up when they're getting into the job market, but after someone's been in the job market 5 or 10 years, I'm looking for the experience over the education. What I'm really looking for is someone who's going to be stable. I want to see multiple years at jobs, not just 2. I want to see 3, 4, 5, 6 years at a given job. It shows me that someone can stick through the hard times, become a valuable asset to the company, and not job hop every couple of years or every year. And I've seen a lot of resumes like that. The reason is, for us, we're not looking for just a body to put in a seat. We're looking for someone to become a member of the team. I will probably take a year to train this person. Granted, they'll be gaining knowledge as they go, but it'll take us about a year to get them trained. If we only have someone who's going to stick around for a year, by the time we get them trained, they're looking to get out the door, and we can't afford that. We need people who can come in here, make this a profitable venture for them and us. Now, this particular person actually took one additional step and put in a cover letter telling me how they qualify and how they set themselves apart from the job. And this was a quick cover letter. It's not a long rambling thing that doesn't have a point. It tells me right away, and of course they say thanks for considering, 5 years of this type of experience I've experienced in these other areas, telling me directly how what they want, what they're looking for is relevant to what we're looking for. This is the type of application that gets more attention than someone who may be skipping on the details. So I know this isn't much, but this gives you an insight to what a hiring person will be looking at when you put an application through on LinkedIn. Take the time to tell them how you're relevant. Make it brief, make it informative, don't ramble, and make sure that you have some relevance to what they're looking for. Otherwise, you might be wasting your time as well as theirs. I hope this information is helpful to you. If it is, please give us a like down below. If you'd like to see more content like this, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you know someone this may benefit, do share the video. Thanks for being here. We'll see you on the next one.